welcome back to Opal and Mint. I am Ashley and welcome back to Watercolor Blooms. This is a series on this channel where we paint watercolor florals every single week. We paint them quick, simple, beginner friendly, and most of all beautiful. We are on episode 7 and every week we try to paint something a little bit different, learning different techniques, trying different things. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. We are learning, we are practicing together every single week. So let's go ahead, turn the camera around and paint some watercolor blooms. All right, so I once again have my Etcher Lab sketchbook. Let's scoot on to a new page. And I thought about doing a 2-page spread, but I think I'll just do the one. We'll stick with the one for now. I will eventually do a 2-page spread for this though. I do want to tape off the edges of this one. So once again, I'm using the Holbein soft tape. I will link this below. Again, you can pick this up on Amazon in different widths, so you don't have to get this wide of one. But I'm going to tape this off. Hopefully it will help keep this flat. So this painting is going to be one that is done fairly quickly. You have to work on this while it is wet. So keep that in mind as we are starting. Wow, this is not even. I'm okay if this side's thicker, but the other edges need to be the same. Anyway, we're going to be doing lifting, and the lifting that we're going to be doing needs to be done while the paint is still wet. So keep in mind we are going to work quickly. This should be a fairly fast painting, should be pretty easy, beginner friendly. So again, we're not worrying about being perfect. All right, so I need to pick a color. Last time I've done this painting before, and last time I used some like bright pinks. I'm trying to decide if that's what I want to do this time. I used opera pink and a mix, I think it was rose madder and opera pink. What color are we feeling today though? Should we go more fall vibes? I feel like we might ought to. So what color should the background be? So let me explain. We're going to be lifting the colors, lifting the flowers off. So we're going to do a color background and we're going to lift where the flowers are. So there'll be white-ish flowers with a whatever color background. So I got to figure out what color I want the background. I might actually do a really pretty blue. Let's see, what blues do I have? We might, lapis lazuli or lunar blue or blue apatite genuine. Whew, those are all really good. Let's see here. We have phthalo, then we have Prussian. This one's lapis, this one's lunar, and this one is blue apatite. I'm kind of leaning toward the lapis lazuli. I love this color so much. And to start, we're gonna take a giant mop brush. Any brush that you have that is big and can hold a lot of water will be good for this because we're gonna cover the entire background. And again, we're gonna be working fairly quickly, so I wanna have everything in order. So after we get our background color on, we're going to be lifting up our flowers. So find a brush that's stiff enough that you can lift with. Let's see, I think I like the cat's tongue. You can use whatever you want, but with the cat's tongue, you can kind of lift a whole petal in one stroke instead of like a round brush with 2. I hope that made sense. This one might be a little bigger than I was wanting, but it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wet that. So that's ready on the side. I'm gonna get my lapis lazuli color pretty wet. This color takes a little bit to reactivate. So I feel like we're preparing for a timed race or something. It's kind of what this feels like, but I don't want you to feel stressed out by this particular technique. Things that will help make this easier, obviously using a paper that stays wet longer. So a 100% cotton paper will definitely make this easier. All right, so I'm gonna dip my brush into this lapis lazuli and we are gonna start painting this beautiful color all over the background. And I think I'm going to end up mixing another blue in with this because this one's a pretty softly pigmented, let's say that, color. And I want the flowers to stand out. So we're going to need a little bit more color, I think. So I'm going to start with the lapis, and then I'm going to add in Blue Apatite Genuine, I think. So I'm just going to mix in some more color. Get a little bit more concentrated pigment here. So my paper is very wet at this moment, which is going to help it stay wet longer for our purposes here. But we're just going to very sloppily cover this page in some blues, whatever color floats your boat. Okay. May even go into my lunar blue as well, whatever feels right. So taking my lunar blue over here, I'm just gonna plop it in there. This is more lapis right here. Okay, just kind of mixing those colors all together. Very pretty. Okay, so we have a nice background going. You can use darker colors if you would like, whatever you want in this step, but I feel like I'm good with this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take my cat's tongue. This is a size 10, it's pretty big, but the brush is wet, it has no paint on it. And I'm just going to lift and then come over here. Let's see if I can zoom out. I'm gonna come over here and wipe it on the cloth. So we're gonna lift our flower petal, wipe it off, get your brush wet again. If your brush gets too dry, it's not going to lift that color as well. So I'm lifting and wiping it on my towel. Okay. This long handle brush is causing problems because I'm hitting my camera. So just kind of go around and lift some flower petals. I'm gonna come over here, lifting. Just working quickly, not worrying too much about your shapes. Lift and wipe. Lifting. This one, whoops. This brush is too long to film under here. Okay, if it's too wet, you're just going to add a bunch of water to your paper. So your brush needs to be a little bit wet so it'll lift, but not so wet that you're going to add puddles. And as it starts drying, if you go back and you lift again, you'll notice that I stabbed the camera. You'll notice that it does a little bit different of a lift. I don't really know how to explain that, but it adds more streakiness, which is giving more like details in those flower petals. So we're gonna do that. So I did my original lift, and as it was drying, did another one. It'll kind of move that pigment around a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna leave those the way they are at the moment, and I'm gonna take a green. I want to take, let's take this one. What are you? I think this is jadeite, and I'm going to put in my leaves now. So the page is still wet. I want these leaves to kind of blend in. So just going to push some leaves. Oh, this brush is driving me crazy. So we've got some green, and it kind of pushes that blue out of the way because it's still wet. Okay, and the thicker you make your paint, the less it's going to bleed. So just kind of push some leaves. I like this brush, but the handle's too long. Can I chop it off? Oh, goodness. It's a pretty, pretty green. Oh, I love this green. Again, these are Daniel Smith paints. This is jadeite and, you know, the combination of blues. So I'm going to let this start to dry now. And this is where we can add in some more details after these leaves kind of, they're bleeding out a little bit after they settle and they dry. Then you can add in some like finer details. We're also going to do the same to these beautiful flowers. So I'm going to take a different brush. I feel like it's probably dry enough where I lifted for us to do those details. I want to take a really tiny brush for this. So I'm going to take, this is a Christy Rice number 2 round. It's pretty small. And I think I want to go in with my lunar blue because this one gets pretty deep, and I just want to add in a little bit of detail marks on these flowers. So I have my lunar blue on my little bitty brush, and I'm just going to ever so lightly put in some detail lines. Just make it a little bit wispy and just try to keep a light touch. We want these to be kind of, oh, what's the right word? I feel like ethereal is what I'm going for. Just very light, airy, kind of daydreamy. I hope that made sense. We don't want these to look too overdone. So I'm taking my lunar blue and just lightly adding in some details. Just light and airy. Keep your brush very loose in your hand. And if like some of it bleeds into the background, that's okay. This is kind of like a daydream of flowers. I had so much water, my page is really warped and the water's like pooling down here. If that happens, you don't want that pooling, you can soak it up with a brush or a cloth. Just kind of touch the edge and let the brush soak up some of that water so it doesn't have such dark pigment at the edge, or you could leave it, either way. Whatever floats your boat. It's an interesting saying, isn't it? Right. Keeping it light. Just a few little details. Not going overboard. Letting it kind of blend in. Okay. We're getting there. Feel like I am almost to the point where I need to stop. Oh, I like that actually. Oh, okay, I'm gonna experiment. If this doesn't work, it's okay. Since this background's still wet, I'm going on the edge of this petal, and I'm gonna kind of do the negative painting thing around some of these, and then kind of fade this out. Just to darken up in some spots. Let me see if is this one still wet too? Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, just gonna fade this out. You take my mop brush. Here we go. There we go. Getting some more. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of water on here. All right, I feel like I need one more spot where that happens. So I'm gonna come up here. Yeah, since that's still wet. And go around this petal. Lunar blue is such a pretty color. And taking my mop brush right into that lunar blue. And just plopping that color in. I like it, I like it, I like it. I think it needs one more spot. So this over here is dry, but it's okay. I'm still gonna do this same thing. So I'm going to, again, do the kind of negative painting. So that means going around those petals, and I'm painting the background. Trying to, there we go. And then let's just fill in with some water. Here we go. Pretty, 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 pretty. Man, I like this color. Okay. How do we feel? How do we feel? Can I do one more spot? I'm asking, can I? Can I please? Love hearing the process. Just me talking out loud about what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop there with the background and the flowers. Let's add just a little bit to these leaves to finish this up. Again, keeping it soft and daydreamy, but let's go back into the same green with our small brush, get a more concentrated amount of the color, and we're just gonna put in a couple of little lines. Again, very, very dainty, and they don't have to be full lines. They can be broken. They can just be little pieces of lines. Just kind of outlining those leaves just a little bit, just enough definition to where you can see what they are, but we're still keeping it dreamy. Okay. Yep, I like it. I like it a lot. So pretty. Are you having fun? I am loving this one. Let me know what I should do on the second page for next week. I feel like I want it to go with it really well. Not sure what I should do. Okay. All right, and I think that's gonna be it for this one. I wanted to keep this one quick, simple, and again, dreamy, but let's go ahead and pull the tape. Oh, is that not the best part of the whole thing? This is still a puddle of water, so hopefully I don't spill it over that line. But look at that. Oh, I love it. All right, so that's this week of Watercolor Blooms. I hope, oh, this one gives me like vintage vibes too. I'm loving this. This kind of reminds me of my grandma's couch growing up. I don't know why, but I don't hate it, so. Oh, yep, I love it. This bolt right here is driving me crazy. Smooth that out, and we're good. All good. Okay. All right, guys, so that is gonna wrap up this episode of Watercolor Blooms. I hope that you enjoyed this and hope you come back next week for our next episode, but that is it for this one. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already and you wanna see our future videos, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Focus this time, but you're not actually focusing, camera. Face, right here. Opal&Mint. am so pale. Episode 7, here we come.